Hello and welcome. My name is John Hobby. Welcome to the Great Poker Chip Adventure, looking for a good set of poker chips. And today we're going to start out by talking about pocket knives. What on earth? Are you kidding? Really? You're going to talk about pocket knives? Yeah, because I have a point to make. Do you remember your first pocket knife? Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever it may be. You get a little pocket knife. You're like, sweet. And after a while, a few years, you go to college and you think, I'm going to get something nicer. So you go out and you get something like this, right? You know, little $110 knife, spend lots of money on it. And you find that it does the job, the same job that this knife does. And after a while, you get sick of carrying it around. It's kind of heavy. This one's, all metal. And you think, all right, I want something lightweight, something less expensive, something I don't mind using all the time. And so you spend less money, on a little pocket knife that's lightweight, easy to carry. And you're happy, all right? And then your friend, this is actually my friend's, he's in the military, roll in with something like this. Let's see if I can get this out of the package here. And this is not a cheap knife, Like I said, he's in the military. You can see how much he's used it. And then you're looking at your little knife and thinking, which one of these do I choose? All right, now you can see where I'm going with this probably, most of you. A lot of you start with poker chips like this, right? Dice chips. And then you're like, wow, I'm going to get something nice. And so you spend a lot of money, $110, $150 on a set of poker chips. And you're like, sweet, moving on up. And then after a while, you're like, I don't want to take these to my friend's house. I don't want to really move these around. Sure, I like playing with them, but I want something, as kind of a portable poker chip set. So you get something that's lightweight, easy to carry around, something that's not too expensive, and it works. And then somebody always rolls in with a high-end set of poker chips. Whether it be custom ceramics, this is obviously, these are more expensive, but it's representative of the high-end set of chips, right? And you ask yourself, well, what's the purpose of these? These serve the same purpose as these. The purpose of this knife is to cut things. What do you do with this knife? You cut things, right? They all have the same function, yet they have different roles to fill. Like I said, some are lightweight, more lightweight than others, and they're less expensive than others, and you're not worried about them being destroyed or lost as much, as some really expensive ones. So you can see how every poker chip, let's get these out of the picture here. Every poker chip set has pros and cons. Dice chips, I do not like these chips. I have them on my craps table still to this day, even though I have tons of other chips, because they serve that role of being thrown around and abused, right? Now, today we're actually talking about a set that fits in this category, the same price range as these next gens, right? And they are Desert Heat by Claysmith. So let's get the rest of these off screen here. And I have a few little stacks here. I'm going to roll in. I think I have some more. And we're going to roll in all of our sample set here. All right. So these are Claysmith metal insert chip. And they serve the role of kind of a middle class poker chip. Let me splash these out. You can see the denominations here. And for a lot of you out there, I know from experience that a lot of you are looking for this segment of poker chip. You're looking for something that's not too expensive, that will last a long time, and this is an option for you. Now, Claysmith, I'm a big fan of Claysmith. They have their own website. They promote their own stuff. They tell you about them. They tell you that these are based off of the design of the Mirage. We'll talk about that more in the design. And I like that about Claysmith. They're just a solid company, and they're trying to improve their products and make products that people want. All right. Sounds like a good business to me. As far as I know, they do not provide any chips for large Vegas casinos. Now, that said, I don't know if they provide chips for any casinos. Now, let's look at the chip, and I always start with quality control first. Okay, now weight, thickness, width, throw all the numbers up there. Not a problem, not an issue with these chips that you're looking at here. Doesn't mean that there won't be in the future. Read the comments. Somebody may have some input about that. But as far as I'm concerned, the cutting, which is a big deal with thickness, it works just fine. You can cut these chips, no problem. So unlike, other chips you've seen here, also made by Claysmith that had thickness issues, but these are compression molded clay. You can, have a little forgiveness for that. So quality control so far is fine. And mentioning quality control, you also need to be aware that with this style of chip, now it's not just Claysmith, I'll roll in some other examples here later, but these have harsh casting or molding marks, right? So you can see there's kind of a sharp edge here, but there's a rounded edge up here, sharp edge down here, not consistent, as this edge is smooth and this edge is sharp, and it's annoying to pick up a stack because you can feel these sharp edges on the sides here. Now, these aren't as bad as some others, and this plastic isn't as hard as some others, which means that as far as sharp edge goes, it's kind of a soft, sharp edge. Does that make sense? So it comes to a sharp point and there's a tag there, but it's not stabbing into your finger. But you can feel it and it is noticeable. Does that affect gameplay? No, not really. It is noticeable to somebody like me who just has been looking for a good set of chips, so I handle chips a lot. It is noticeable to me. Again, not a game stopper. I'm not going to pick up some chips and be like, oh my gosh, stop the game. So, is that average? Well, let's have a look. All right, Monte Carlo chips. These are very popular. These also have that same issue with that sharp edge. Not sure if it's going to show up here on camera, but there's that sharp edge, round edge, sharp edge. All right. So pretty consistent. Same with these. These are the Poker Night. I have a separate video on those. The next gens do not have that. They're in the same price range. They're much lighter. There's no steel insert. There's a steel insert in these. All right, well, average so far on all of those things. Now, we're also going to talk about flatness. Now, there's lots of ways to measure flatness, but I want to kind of demonstrate graphically here. See how unstable this stack is? Just because this is not super flat. All right, now you can experience that with spinners. You can see it spins right here. You can do that by squeezing the edges here. You can see that as you squeeze the edges, they do rock back and forth a little. Not sure if it's in focus. They rock back and forth a little bit, and that's par for the course. You take any of these other brands and they wobble. They're not flat. You can watch the separate videos I have on those. Quality control then is still very average. Now let's talk about inlays. Okay, now I know they're stickers, but for consistency, I'm going to call them inlays. This is a pretty well centered inlay. I haven't had any of these completely miss the mark. If you remember a couple of my other reviews, there are some problems with these inlays not being laid in the center, with centering, with actually being on the chip. But all of these, 100% of them, have been very consistent. All right, now are they aligned with the edge marks? See, you look at this sample set and they're very close. And you flip through all of these, they look very close. It looks like they made an effort to center all of these inlays. Now that is above average. And you can see that there's a slight variation here too, but for the most part, they're aligned. I'm going to give them above average on that. They're not excellent. They're not superb. They're not perfect. You can see the 100 here. It's slightly skewed, but they made an effort. And for this price range, which as of January 2015, you're looking around $50 for a set of 300, kind of my standard comparison there, just sets of 300. There you go. There you have it. So it's kind of the sharp shoulders, but that's average. Everything else is average. One above average. It comes out for quality control, average. Now moving on to design. And thank you, Claysmith, for having a website, consumer friendly, that we can go and we can read information about these chips. These chips, are designed after the Mirage poker chips. All right. Obviously, there's some variation here, loosely designed off of it. And I really like this design. I play with some friends, and one of the women she's very opinionated about chips. All right. She hates these Monte Carlo chips, right? They're just ostentatious. They're shiny. She calls them shiners. She hated these, but she loves these. These are her favorite chip. All right. Well, in this price range, these are her favorite chip in this price range because they look pleasant. They look happy. It's easy to read the denominations. They're exciting without being over the top. And they're not boring or drab or anything. So a lot of people really like this design. I agree with them. I think this is a well-designed chip. You can see with very clay-like, obviously these are plastic chips, but very clay-like edge marks. They don't make them clean cut, perfect, pretty, like these, for example. The Monte Carlos are just like perfect edges, perfect edges, right? But they make an effort to make them look relaxed, Polynesian, tropical, whatever it may be, right? So the design overall of the inlay, the chip, the edge marks, I'm going to say it's above average because they put some real time and effort into it. It wasn't just, oh, we're going to copy, the Paulson clay style 2 edge marks right here, okay? I know these denominations are different, but you can see, like Paulson Classics just have the 2 edge marks. Oh, look, 2 edge marks, right? They put some effort into this. I like that about Claysmith. Above average. My opinion, you guys can leave a comment and voice your opinion. Now, moving on to materials. Very consistent. Something else I should mention about the design. Backing up, there is some texture on that chip. Can you see that? Yeah, there you go. I like that. Again, consistent. So, materials. Like almost everything else in this price segment, you're talking about metal insert plastic. Same as Monte Carlo, same as the Poker Night series. There's variations in all of these. By the way, this review represents all of the Claysmith plastic metal insert chips. I'm not going to review each and every one of them. Basically, they might vary the color a little bit and they might vary the inlay, but until they come out with a completely new chip, this represents the middle class plastic metal insert Claysmith chip. So those, they're very common to find. Plastic metal insert chips. Doesn't matter what brand, about the same price range. The 2 variations are obviously the next gen. You can see my review on those. These don't have a metal insert, and it's a different kind of plastic with no sharp edges around the edges. And the metal insert poker chips. Again, in a similar price range, kind of a different feel on the edge. I mean, it's not perfect, but they don't have quite the sharpness that these do. And they obviously have this huge metal insert, and they're heavier. So, those are the 2 kind of variants that I found in this price range that aren't ABS or just a plastic metal insert chip. So, materials, these things wear very well. They're not too slick, not like a ceramic chip, and they feel pretty good. Again, they're heavy enough that it's kind of hard to do tricks with. If you're big into stuff like that, you can see slippery enough that it's a little bit tricky to do tricks with. Obviously, shuffling is easy. We'll talk about that, at the end of the video. So materials, they'll last you your whole life. So they're fine. They do a great job being a poker chip. So materials average because that's what you're going to get with almost anything else. Durability and wear, like I said, they wear so slowly and they're so durable. If you've watched my other videos, let's see if I can reach. I've broken other chips with my fingers, they just snap. You can watch my other videos. Not going to go into that. And trust me, I've tried to break these. We've cranked on these, we've thrown them, we've, smacked them around. They're just a really durable chip. You can see a little imperfection right there, actually. Which is to be expected. I mean, each individual chip's going to have its own little character, as long as it's not completely outrageous and completely, missing a color or something. So average on durability and wear, because that's what you get with everything else, in the price range. Fine. Moving on. Competitive options. I've shown you a lot of them already. You get all of these Monte Carlo, Poker Nights, coin inlay, next gens. I don't think I missed any that I have out right now. Obviously, if you want your dice chips, if you want to move up a little bit, you can get like these clay desert palms. I know there's a next gen desert palms and a clay, compression molded clay desert palms. A little bit more for something like that. A competitor for this, if you want to stay in the Claysmith catalog, Milanos. You can get these as blanks. You can get these customized. But if you just want the stock Milanos, that's a very good option for a little bit more money. These 2 sets you're looking at around, like Milanos are running a little over $100 as of January 2015. Things always change. They're running about a little over $100 for a set of these for $300. Desert Palm's about the same price, plus or minus $10 here or there, and who knows what for shipping. Here are some scroll chips. Let's grab this stack. Some scroll chips, a little bit more. So, if you want to spend a little bit more, there's lots of options out there for you. But, you know, if you're watching this video and you're looking at these, I would say, and you like the design more than anything else you've seen, I would say go get them. I mean, there's nothing that I found wrong with these chips that are just a red flag saying, no, don't buy these chips. I like everything: quality control, design, materials, durability, wear. And it's very competitive for the market. And that wraps up the decision-making points for me, all right? I would absolutely recommend these to anybody. If you're looking at these and you say, these are my favorite design, you don't like the shiny bling. If you are, you know, torn between these two, like the Monte Carlo and the Desert Palm or the Desert Heat, I would recommend that you just go with the shinier ones, because in my experience, lots of times you'll get chips and you'll get them and see them in person, just be like, whatever. And so a little bit extra bling, if it doesn't bother you, a little bit of extra holographic printing isn't going to kill you. Yes, this holographic printing will wear faster than these plastic sticker inlays. All right, just something to be aware of. So they might be a little bit more durable, but they're not as shiny. So you'll get these, and I mean, you know, they're actually a really very reasonable chip. And you know, the nice thing I like about these too is everybody I've played with these chips, craps or blackjack or whatever, were happy with them. They're like, hey, you know, this is a very reasonable chip. They weren't saying, oh my gosh, they're too shiny, or oh my gosh, they're so bland. So recommended, but not my thing, right? For me, it's the feel. I've become a snob here, playing with all of these poker chips. The metal insert chips, I have a hard time warming up to. It's not the sound, it's just the weight of them. You grab a stack of them, they're pretty hefty. And I also don't like the sharp edges. Okay. I told you in my next gen video, where are my next gens? I told you in this review that these next gens are one of my top 3 favorite chips, because they're so affordable and they don't have those sharp edges and they're not super heavy. All right. I mean, it makes a difference to me. Now, everybody's different. So one of the reasons why I'm making these videos is so you can make your own decision based off of your preference and what you know of yourself. And I'm not going to, if you write a comment like, well, make my decision for me, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and mine by telling you what to buy. I'm just going to recommend these if you like them and you're aware of all the little shortcomings of them. There you have it. Now, things that don't make a difference in my decision-making process, but people like to talk about because they think it's interesting. Shuffling chips and the sound of chips. All right, well, let's start with shuffling. I don't know how many that is, but you know, can you shuffle them? Yeah, they shuffle just like any other normal chip. Wow, miraculously that actually shuffled. How many was that there? I don't know. Anyway, you can shuffle them. Like I said, cake. What chips can't you shuffle? Anyway, some are, I understand, Paulsons you need to break in a little bit, but you can still shuffle them. And sound, here goes the sound test. Do people really base their purchase decision off of sound? We're going to roll in some competitive options here first. And, okay, these are all about the same price. We're going to go back and forth here. Desert Heat. Crown coin inlay. Next gen. Monte Carlos. Maybe a little different. All right, let's move up the scale a little bit real quick. We'll do some scrolls and some Milanos, all right? Oh, let's see what else we have. Oh, we might as well do some Desert Palms. These are the clay version again. All right, let's move down and do some dice chips. And let's see what else we got here. Should we do a big stack of these tikis? Nevada Jacks while we're at it. the difference between ceramic and plastic. We did Monte Carlo. Did we do Nile Club? I think those are all the ceramics. Now we can move into some Paulsons here. These are some Paulson classics. Well, let's see what else we have. We have some Chipco sample set here. I'm having fun, guys. I'm just going to keep doing this. So let's see what else, if I can find anything else here. Well, let's try some different Paulsons here. Those are classics. Here we go. Top Hat and Cane. There you go. Oh, let's see. I think that's it for now. We'll call that good. We already did Nile Club. All right. There's your sound test. Did that help anybody make a decision? I doubt it. Anyway, very reasonable chip. This is probably going to be my last plastic metal insert chip review because they're so consistent across the board. This is representative of the Claysmith brand. Hope that helps somebody out there. Please subscribe. My next video, I'm probably going to take a break from the poker chip adventure, and next week or the week after, I'm going to try to sneak in a poker card, a face card review. We'll see how that works out. And then we'll get right back into this. I'm going to stick with this for future generations making poker chip purchase decisions. So I will be back in a couple of weeks. Thanks for watching.